Chapter 4 of the Precious Garland, verse 356. Past and future objects and the senses are unreal, so too are present objects, since they are not distinct from these two. Just as due to error the eye perceives a whirling firebrand as a wheel, so the senses apprehend present objects as if real. The senses and their objects are regarded as being composed of the elements. Since the individual elements are unreal, so too are those objects. If each element is different, it follows that there could be fire without fuel. If they mixed, they would be characterless. And this is true of the other elements. Because the elements are unreal in both these ways, so too is composition. Because composition is unreal, so too in fact are forms. Also because consciousness, feelings, discriminations, and factors of composition each are not self-existent realities in any way, pleasures are not ultimately real. Just as a lessening of pain is fancied to be real pleasure, so a suppression of pleasure is also fancied to be pain. Thus, attachment to finding pleasure and to separating from pain are to be abandoned because they do not inherently exist. Thereby, for those who see thus, there is liberation. What sees reality? Conventionally, they say it is the mind, for without mental factors there can be no mind, and a second mind, because unreal cannot be simultaneous. Knowing thus truly and correctly that animate beings are unreal, not being subject to rebirth, and without grasping, one passes from suffering like a fire without its cause. Bodhisattvas also who have seen it thus seek perfect enlightenment with certainty. They maintain a continuity of existence until enlightenment only through their compassion. The collections of merit and wisdom of bodhisattvas were taught by the Tathagata in the Mahayana. Disliked by the bewildered, the Mahayana is derided. Either through not knowing virtues and defects or identifying the defects as virtuous, or through disliking virtues, they deride the Mahayana. He who despises the Mahayana, knowing that to harm others is wrong, but that to help them is virtuous, is called one who dislikes virtues. He who despises Mahayana, the source of all virtues, and that it teaches taking delight solely in the aims of others and not looking to one's own, consequently burns himself. One with faith and emptiness forsakes it through misconception. Another who is angry forsakes emptiness through disliking it. Even if the faithful one is said to be burned, what can be said about the one who is disinclined through despising it? Just as it is explained in medicine that poison can be driven out by poison, what contradiction is there in saying that the injurious can be driven out by suffering? It is widely known that motivation determines practices and that the mind is most important. How then could even suffering not be helpful for one who gives assistance with the motivation to help others? If even in ordinary life pain can bring future benefit, accepting suffering beneficial for one's own and others' happiness of course will help. This practice from of old is known as the excellent method.